Hello dear student, I am Sanaka Shivshek, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Abeda Inamda Senior College. Welcome back to the series of Database Management System. Today we are going to see what is SQL. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is used for storing and managing data in relational database management system. It is a standard language for relational database system. It enables a user to create, read, update and delete relational databases and tables. All the RDBMSs like MySQL, Informix, Oracle, MS Access and SQL Server use SQL as their standard database language. SQL allows users to query the database in a number of ways using English-like statement. So that means SQL is a language which we are going to use to create a database, to create the tables inside my database, to insert the data, to delete the data. So whatever query we are going to write in our database, we are going to use SQL for that. Now, what is the history of SQL? The SQL programming language was first developed in the 1970s by IBM researchers Raymond Boyce and Donald Chamberlain. The programming language known then as SQL and now as Structured Query Language. Now, what are the characteristics of SQL? SQL is very easy to learn. SQL is used to access data from relational database management system. So that means whatever data we are storing into database, we are going to access that using SQL. SQL can execute queries against the database. SQL is used to describe the database. SQL is used to define the data in the database and manipulate it when needed. So that means whatever data we have stored into database, we can manipulate it using SQL queries. SQL is used to create and drop the database and table. So suppose if you no longer need any database or you do not want any particular table into the database, you can drop that. That means that table or database will no longer will be available. SQL is used to create view, stored procedure, functions in a database. SQL allows users to set permissions on tables, procedures, and views. Now, there are certain commands of SQL. SQL commands are instructions. It is used to communicate with the database. It is also used to perform specific tasks, functions, and queries of data. SQL can perform various tasks like create a table, add data to table, drop the table, modify the table, set permission for user, etc. So these are some types of SQL commands. First is DDL, that means data definition language. Here we have commands like create, drop, alter and truncate. By create command is used to create the table, drop is to delete the table, alter is to alter any table structure of the table, and truncate means it is going to delete all the rows of the table. Okay, it is going to empty my table. Next is DML commands, that means data manipulation language command. Here we are going to insert, update and delete queries. Okay. Next is DCL commands. We have here grant and revoke command. Next is TCL, that means transaction control command. We have commit, rollback and save point. In DQL we have select. So we are going to see all this command in detail. So your first command is data definition language, DDL. DDL changes the structure of the table like creating a table, deleting a table, altering a table, etc. All the commands of DDL are auto-committed. That means it permanently saves all the changes in the database. Here are some commands that comes under DDL. So that means DDLs are those commands which are going to change the structure of the table. That means we are not handling your data. Okay, we are not touching data here. We are just creating our table. We can alter the table, we can delete the table, or we can empty our table, but we will not touch the data. So that means it will go with the structure of the table. Okay, so our first command is create command. Create is used to create a new table in the database. Okay, now what is the syntax? Syntax is write create table, name of the table whatever you want to give. In parentheses you have to write name of the column, their data type, okay, separated by commas, and then you have to give semicolon at the end. Once again I'll repeat, create table, name of the table, in parentheses you have to specify names of the columns and their data types separated by commas, and then at the end you have to enclose with parentheses and semicolon. For example, see, create table employee, name varchar, varchar is the data type of the name, email varchar, date of birth, date. Okay, so this is going to create the table like this. Okay, we'll see the live example of this. So suppose this is an online compiler. Here I'll show you how to write the query. So suppose I'll write the query here, create table, name of the table whatever you want to give. Suppose you want to give teacher. Okay, then parenthesis, here you have to write the name of the columns. Okay, you have to specify the columns. So suppose my first column is T number, that means number of the teacher, and or you can write as TID, and data type as integer. Okay, then you will write T name, that means name of the teacher, and it should be varchar. Then you can write the department, it should be varchar. Okay, then close with parenthesis and semicolon. Okay, then you have to run this query. So that means the table got created successfully. Okay, next command is drop command. Drop, it is used to delete both the structure and records stored in the database. Means what? Drop command will delete your whole table permanently from the database. So suppose you do not want particular table into your database, or by mistakenly you have created some wrong table into database and you no longer need that table, so you can delete that table, correct? So do not use delete command for that. You have to use drop table and table name. Okay, remember, delete command you do not have to use to delete the table. Here you have to use drop command to delete the table permanently from the database. So for example, see, drop table employee, it will delete the table permanently from the database. I'll show you the example. Now suppose we want to delete the table which we have created right now for teacher. We'll write query as drop table teacher. Okay, and we'll run the query. So your query is successfully completed. Now we'll access the table, select star from teacher. It will give me the error that the teacher table is no longer available, correct? So it will generate the error as no such table teacher. Clear? So that means create table is going to create the table, and your dropped command is going to drop the table from the database. So that table is not going to be available anymore. Clear with both the commands, create and drop command?